Welcome back. Now that your initiatives are in place, you'll be ready to have your marketing managers start planning all the campaigns they want to create to achieve the marketing goals outlined in the previous board. In the campaign planning board, you can track all the things needed for each campaign, like the channel, budget, and campaign runtime, which will be the timeline column. You can also break down each campaign to the tasks needed to be done to go live with sub-items. Once the campaign is live, you can connect each campaign to the campaign performance board to track the metrics you want to at a glance. So let's dive in. Great. So before we were in the marketing plan board, now we're going to move to the campaigns planning board, and I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger for you. Great. So we've split our board into groups for new campaigns, in progress campaigns, scheduled campaigns, and if I scroll down, the live campaigns. Just like before, you can add campaigns by adding groups, or you can delete, edit, or add groups as you see fit. Um, in this board, we have split our board into groups for new campaigns, in progress campaigns, scheduled campaigns, live campaigns, and completed paused campaigns. If you scroll down a little bit. As before, you can delete these, edit, or even add groups to fit your workflow better. In this board, each item is a campaign instead of an initiative. So let's just review the columns and the data we're looking at for each campaign. I have a people column where I can assign the responsible person in each item. And I will click on that, add myself there. Great. I have a drop-down column for the channel. So right now I have YouTube, Google Ads, maybe a campaign's on multiple channels, and I can edit that way. I'll use a text column for the brief of each campaign, a timeline column for the campaign timeline so that everybody's on the exact same page about when it's happening. I'll use a numbers column for each campaign's dollars spent so that I can keep track of my spending and have it pulled back into that original marketing plans board where I just showed you that budget spent column. Another drop-down column can be used to show our target audience, or again, audiences. It could be multiple. A status column could show the overall status of the campaign so people can tell at a glance where it is. The link to the campaign column shows you how to add a URL, so a hyperlink to an outside website, if anybody wants to see the campaign itself. And finally, we have a connect boards column and mirror columns. This is our connect boards column. These are our mirror columns. Just like in the previous chapter, here we are connecting each campaign to a board, to the same campaign in the campaign performance board, where we track different metrics. We'll be looking at that board and this connection in more detail in the next chapter. Great. So you might be adding campaigns manually to the board, or we can also take advantage of using a form, which I'm going to open up here. If you prefer to have campaigns come into the board this way, we'll also be looking at more deeply at Monday forms in the next chapter. So once we've added the information about each campaign, we can also break down the tasks we need to do for a campaign to go live. For this, we will be using sub-items, which are right here. Sub-items let us break down a high-level task or project into its smaller parts. We can also add columns to our sub-items to track whatever information we want to see about each task. For now, we're only looking at the due date and status, but we can also add files, for example, which are associated with each smaller sub-item task. If I want to look into the details of each campaign and see the status of each task, then I'll open up the sub-items. If not, I'll just keep them closed because that's a bit cleaner and it makes the board easier to read. Okay, so while we're working on these campaigns, we might also want to see them in a more visual way. Just like in the previous board, you have some suggested board views up here. The Gantt view shows the timeline of campaigns by ones that are scheduled, in progress, or live. Oh, and you can see them right there. We can really work on planning campaigns from this view, meaning that we can see all of the information about each campaign here and even make changes directly. So I could change this timeline directly from here, for example. Awesome. We can even add new campaigns directly to the Gantt by clicking here. And I would just add a campaign. Any changes made from the Gantt view or from any other view for that matter will of course be reflected in that main table view where we started. If Gantt charts aren't your cup of tea and you prefer working from a calendar, the calendar view will be helpful as an alternative to see the dates associated with the campaigns. And I'll show you that quickly here. Awesome. So let's have a look at how we can communicate with our team about the campaigns. I'm going to show you the updates section, which is one of our main communications features. And it's where you can communicate in context about each campaign. You can mention other people and ask for their approval. So for example, I could say, everyone on this campaign, so all owners, can you take a look at this new timeline and tell me whether you think it's feasible? Then they'll get notified in that bell as soon as I hit update, and they'll be able to respond to my update too. I'm going to add a GIF just for fun. I'm going to say, thank you. Great. And then they will be able to respond here by clicking reply, and we can have a conversation in context. So let's also look at how we'll keep our items or campaigns in the right groups. For that, we're going to take advantage of some automations. In case you missed it, we started to explain automations in general in Chapter 3. In this board, we already have automation set up so that when the status of each campaign changes, for example, when campaign status changes to live, the campaign will automatically move to the relevant group, in this case, live campaigns. Or when campaign status changes to in progress, move the item to the in progress campaigns group. Awesome. So part of our planning of our campaigns is the creation of creative assets. Let's move to the next chapter where we'll go over creative production.